I'm just gonna have to apologize in advance, Your Majesty.
Right, now I've got me dad's birthday today, and one of the things he misses the most from England is a bit of pie and mash. I actually haven't made this before, but I've made mince pies, so I should be well cushy. We've got to start making the pie filling since it's got to cool before we put it in the crust, or else you'll end up with a soggy base. So go ahead and mince up a large onion and start to saute it in a pot till they're translucent. In the meantime, chop up a big old handful of parsley. The easiest way to do this is scrunch it up and then cut it. Now I know you Yanks don't use the metric system for measurements, so I'll cater to your imperial system. So now that the onions are sauteed, add in a pound of ground beef. At this point I realised I bollocksed up and used too small of a pot. So get a bigger one and transfer the filling into it and continue to brown the beef. Add in a teaspoon of ground pepper as well. Then you're going to need a pint of beef stock. I didn't have a stock cube, so I'll be using a bit of Bisto brown gravy. Then go ahead and add that to the pot and take it off the hob. Next up is making the liquor. Now mate, I'm not talking about a cheeky glass of whiskey, I'm talking about the green liquor sauce for the pie and mash. Take the parsley, reserving a few tablespoons, along with a few tablespoons of hot water, and place into a blender and blend until you get a vibrant green paste. If you like, you can opt out of this step if you prefer parsley leaves in your liquor. Then you've got to prepare the pint of fish stock. Traditionally this would be done with stewed eels, but I've got some Japanese hondashi which is made from bonita fish and seaweed, so it ought to do the trick. Add the reserved parsley to the filling and attempt to cool the pot in a water basin. To a smaller pot, add the parsley and fish stock and bring to a simmer. Then add in a dash of malt vinegar. I took the liberty of putting in 5 chili flakes because the only spices I've used so far in this is salt and pepper. Then to thicken the sauce, make a cornstarch slurry with a tablespoon of cornstarch and a bit of cold water. Add that to the liquor and bring to a boil to let thicken. Once the liquor has been adjusted to taste, cover it and set it to the side. Here's the part that's a real pain in the bum. You've got to make 2 different types of pastries for the pie. The base is a suet pastry and the top is a short crust or puff pastry. To make the suet pastry, add 1 1/4 cup of self-rising flour to a large mixing bowl. You can always make your own with a bit of baking powder and regular flour if you don't have it. I've substituted the suet for shortening, so add in 3/4 cup of it. Add a pinch of salt and mix well with a wooden spoon. Once the dough has a more cohesive form and is tacky, flour up a work surface and plop the dough on it. Then knead the dough for about 5 minutes until it's nice and stretchy. Then place the ball of dough into a lightly floured bowl, cover and let rest. To make the short crust pastry, add 3/4 cups of plain flour to a mixing bowl. Then chop up 1/4 cup of cold butter and add that in as well. Add a pinch of salt and a tablespoon or 2 of cold water. To form the dough, coat with the cold butter and try to rub it through your palms until you get pea-sized pebbles of butter. Once you can combine and press the dough together, empty the bowl out onto a floured work surface and knead a bit until you can form a ball. Working the dough too much could warm it up, and you won't be able to get nice flaky layers in the end. So make sure until it's just combined. Then wrap up the dough and chill that in the refrigerator as well. I don't have any small pie tins or anything of the sort, so I've made some makeshift ones with a bit of aluminium foil. Then take out the suet pastry and roll it into an even width, approximately 3 to 4 millimeters. Then section it off with a bench scraper or a knife into equal parts. I was able to make 3 rather large pies with a bit to spare. Roll the sections of dough out into a circle, a bit wider than your pie tins, and then gently drape the dough inside the greased tins. Cut off any excess and repeat for the remaining dough. For the short crust dough, roll it out similarly and then use a circular object of equal diameter as the pie tins and cut around it to make the top crust. Be sure to cut out a hole for the steam to escape as well. Then spoon in some of the cooled filling into the pie crust and then place the short crust on top, crimping the seams with the tongs of a fork to seal the pie. Repeat for the remaining pies. Place the pies into a metal roasting tin, then use a pastry brush or your finger and paint on some egg wash consisting of 1 beaten egg onto the tops of the pies. Then pour boiling water into the roasting tin so that it comes up to just about halfway up the pies. Since the kettle's already on for the pie, why not make yourself a nice cup of tea while you're at it? Then cover the roasting tins with aluminium foil to trap in steam. Then in a preheated 350-degree oven, bake the pies for 30 minutes covered and another 15 minutes uncovered. If you want the blistered top, broil them for a minute or two at the very end.
Come on, come off it. Look at that.
Now I couldn't be bothered to film making the mashed potatoes since I've already spent 2 hours on making the pies, but check the description if you really want some instructions. Then bing bang bosh, you've got yourself some proper pie mash.
Salted